What is going on, my crazy 76er fanatics, guys? Thanks for stopping back in for another daily pod with your daily 76ers discourse discussion. The likers, the watchers, the commenters, and the subscribers, you guys are all that matters. Thank you guys so much for helping this conversation continue to flow, this channel continue to grow, and keeping the Sixer discourse on the up and up. The likers, the watchers, the commenters. Guys, we got to talk about that Knicks game. First off, the refs ought to be ashamed on themselves. 2 games back to back, the Sixers have been robbed by poor officiating and missed calls and miscues. It happens regularly to the Sixers. And if you've checked that Boston Celtics playoff series, if you've checked the Sixers postseason playoff performances, you've seen some pretty bad officiating consistently when it comes down to Philadelphia, Joel Embiid, and the process. This is just how it goes for Philadelphia fans. This is just how they treat and how they officiate the 76ers. One thing you did learn outside that the refs are partially blind is that Joel still got it. Joel still got it. 28 points in the first half. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The problem is when Joel has it, other people forget what they have, and they can't find their own offensive game and their own shot making. In the third quarter, the Sixers had a typical third quarter for this season. It was tragic. It was terrible. It was low scoring, and it was inefficient. That's what the third quarters have been throughout this entire regular season. The Sixers had one of those performances against the Knicks, and I think that's the main contributing factor to why they lost. You can say that the fourth quarter, the referees, you can say Paul George, you can say Tyrese Maxey, but in that third quarter, they didn't play well. They didn't execute their plays. They started off slow. They're looking for Joel to not only be the fire starter, but to be the flame and the heat for the entire quarter. I get it. He had 28 in the first half, but you got to think about it, guys. If Joel has 28 in the first half, that second half, you should be trying to attack the Knicks from different angles. The offensive scheme that they employed in that third quarter was pass the ball to Joel and move out the way. It was stagnant. It was stationary. It lacked creativity. It lacked ingenuity. It looked like old Sixer basketball when Joel was in MVP form. He's still got some juice left in those legs. He's still got some MVP caliber play left in his body. But you shouldn't want to be requiring it in the regular season. You shouldn't be looking for it all game long against the Knicks in the regular season. And if he does it potentially slow down, you still have to click on all cylinders for other players with other offensive schemes and strategies. Nick Nurse did not employ any creativity. Nick Nurse didn't do anything differently in the third quarter. And I think Nick Nurse played Joel for too long because the team seemed to be looking for him to do something. And in that third quarter, obviously after the first half, his body's cooled off. He's going to start a little slower. He's got to heat back up, warm those knees back up. Maybe third quarters just aren't Joel's anymore. We're going to have to address that. So we did learn a few things. One, that Joel still has it. Nick Nurse does not. And most importantly, guys, we learned that this season is going to be a roller coaster. Buckle in. Strap up. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I told him I love this season. When you think about the excitement for the season, the Sixers have been in the most one-score games out of any other team in the NBA. The Sixers have been in the most overtimes this regular season than any other team in the NBA. The Sixers have needed clutch shots, big performances, and huge moments from a rookie in VJ Edgecombe. The Sixers have a brand new face of the franchise, a brand new bus driver, and a brand new engine for this team offensively in Tyrese Maxey. The Sixers have Kelly Oubre playing at a career year. How exciting is this season, guys? I was saying this may be one of the most exciting seasons that I've had as a Sixer fan in my lifetime. There's so many storylines, so many question marks, so many avenues to be entertained, so many things to watch out for that before weren't even a factor on this team. Does Joel still have it? You never had to question that before. How great is Tyrese Maxey? Well, he's a budding star, and so far, he seems to be one of the best point guards in the NBA today, a top 5 in that conversation. How good and what's VJ Edgecombe ceiling? Guys, he's looking like Anthony Edwards. He's looking like a controlled, calm, collected Anthony Edwards on a winning team in a winning situation. So he doesn't get to shoot shots that he probably shouldn't be taking. He doesn't get to display his creativity and his shot-making ability in the way that Anthony Edwards got free reign his rookie and sophomore year. We can keep going with the storylines here, guys, but how exciting is this season? Argumentally, again, one of the most exciting Sixer seasons in the history of the team because the East is wide open. The Eastern Conference is looking like the Eastern Conference, and the Sixers, who still haven't hit their ceiling yet, could still be the beast in the conference because of how deep this team is, how good Joel is, the jump that Tyrese Maxey made, the consistency that VJ Edgecombe is showing. This team could potentially get it done in ways where you said other Sixer teams had the opportunity to get it done. This team has more question marks and more opportunity than those previous squads. I think this is one of the most exciting seasons in Sixer history. I do point back to the James Harden seasons with PJ Tucker, and it seemed like this team was clicking, and you finally had an offensive system that could reach a ceiling of Shaq and Kobe, but it never truly did. I look back at the JJ Redick seasons with JJ, Marco Bellinelli, Ersan Ilyasova, Joel Embiid, where the dribble handoff was one of the most efficient plays this team could bring out. Ben Simmons was playing great. That was exciting basketball. I believed in. I thought it was a championship squad. I go back to the Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, one season hoorah for the super team that honestly could have gotten the job done if they had more time with one another. I think this team, guys, I think the storylines, I think the construction of the roster, I think what this team has put together, this is a more exciting season than those seasons for a multitude of reasons that I've already laid out. I'm loving this season. I'm loving the way this team is playing. I'm not sure if I'm liking the way this team's thinking because their rumors are the priority is ducking the luxury tax. And when you have Tyrese Maxey playing at MVP level, Joel Embiid still capable of MVP caliber play, you don't wait till next season. You don't wait till you have another chance or avenue to go all in. If you still believe in the process, in Joel Embiid, if you know what Tyrese Maxey is going to be, if you're comfortable paying Paul George what you're paying Paul George and you're not going to trade him and you can't find an avenue to get off of him, you go all in now. I am one of those advocates. I think this season is the season that you go all in. The Sixers have not necessarily bought all in. They've bought before with James Harden, but they still have kept leverage, waiting for other free agents in the offseason, waiting to keep more cap space for other opportunities. What are you waiting for? Legitimately, what are you waiting for? I hear that Daryl Morey has a Sam Presti ideology where the draft and drafting players and the assets from the draft, first round picks, second round picks, that is where true championship teams are constructed. And in this iteration of the NBA, I can see that. That is more realistic than to buying and constructing a team through free agency. Look at the Houston Rockets. Most of their success has been homegrown drafted talent. And the ability to get Kevin Durant was from drafted players and good contract management with Dylan Brooks. We'll talk about that. The Oklahoma City Thunder, drafted success. The Minnesota Timberwolves, majority drafted success, good front office management, but they probably had the same success with Karl-Anthony Towns as they do with Julius Randle. The top teams in the West right now have been drafted. Even the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, the engines and the focal point of their team, has been drafted success. We could go on. Indiana Pacers, drafted success. Good free agent management with one trade, one signing. And that's what Daryl Morey needs to do because so far with this team and the way they are currently constructed, they are following that blueprint. Joel Embiid, drafted success. VJ Edgecombe, a drafted home run success. Tyrese Maxey, drafted success. Guys, the Sixers are on par with the teams who are championship caliber. They just need to make that trade. They need to make that home run maneuver. The Pascal Siakam trade, the Kevin Durant trade. They need to make that home run maneuver. The Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo trade. They need to find a way to make that home run maneuver. It's time to go all in. And for me, that home run maneuver is getting rid of Paul George, finding yourself a star, someone who's going to play extremely well. P.J. Washington. P.J. Washington is the move that this team needs to make. He's on a very cheap contract, $14 million a year. It's doable. It's usable. And there's a way where you can move Paul George, get him off of this team, bring in PJ Washington, who provides the same type of play, the same caliber of play, and the same efficiency in play as Paul George. He just doesn't have the isolation bag that the Sixers have put on the shelf for Paul George's tenure in Philadelphia. The isolation scoring that Paul George brings, the Sixers aren't using. PJ Washington would be a better piece and a better fit for this team, and I think that's the move that puts this team in a good position to go all in. Get rid of Paul George. Keep Kelly Oubre. Re-sign Kelly Oubre to an extension. Keep room to re-sign Quentin Grimes to an extension. PJ Washington gives you that contract flexibility. Guys, like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me how you feel about PJ Washington for Paul George, because that's the trade that needs to be made. The only issue is, the only problem is, Dallas isn't picking up Daryl's calls no more. After the Quentin Grimes fiasco, Dallas is not picking up Daryl Morey's calls no more. But PJ Washington will be the perfect candidate and the perfect piece to call for and try to acquire. Like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Tell me what you think, how you feel about PJ Washington, the pod, the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe.